ऑल राइट, सो मेरे साथ हैं दविंदर सर एक बार फिर। एंड ऑफ कोर्स हम सब जानते हैं कि आईपीओज में उनका जो हाथ रहा है वो मतलब बहुत दूर दूर तक कहते हैं ना, गांव गांव में मशहूर है। बट आज हम बहुत ही इंटरेस्टिंग चीज एक डिस्कस करने वाले हैं, विच इज थीम बेस्ड इन्वेस्टिंग और थीम बेस्ड ट्रेडिंग। इसमें मैं इससे पहले कुछ भी बोलूं, आई डोंट थिंक आई शुड से एनीथिंग अबाउट इट। आई लेट सर टेक ओवर एंड लेट अस टेक थ्रू go through the topic with sir.
Okay. Thanks, Vishu. Thanks for be a great host every single time. So yeah, I also feel like energized whenever I hear you. So yeah, yeah, let's talk about a niche segment out of the complete IPO which we have talked earlier. So IPOs में क्या है कि like we have seen, right? So like I covered a face to face with Vivek Bajaj sir also, like how to do the IPO investing, right? But अभी क्या होता है कि there is a certain set of IPO stocks which are capable of giving you like 5x or 10x returns, right? तो हम लोग उस पे बात करेंगे कि like why few stocks out of like 45 or 50 stocks which come up with an IPO in a year, there are some like special candidates which one should focus on. तो वो स्पेशल कैंडिडेट्स कैसे फाइंड करने हैं, लाइक व्हाट इज द स्ट्रेटजी बिहाइंड दैट, और like what is the back tested data which tells you that these can be a potential winner, right? So we'll talk about that. So before we go to the current theme based stocks, we will go one step back and we will study what were the theme based stocks of 2020, 2021, or 2019-20, right? So if you look at let me probably share my screen. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes sir.
Yeah, so if you look at this watch list which I maintain, right? So if you go back in time and see like FL, Root, and Happiest Mind, right? Yeah. So if you look at this guy, Happiest Mind, and before that, Root, Happiest Mind, Root. Yeah, right. So all this stock, came up for an IPO in a same kind of a period, right? You see, like this is probably uh, you know 2017, 2020, no, not 2017, yeah, 2020 and 2020, right? So probably a gap of 5 months. Then you had FL, which was like 8 months old. So yeah, I'm unable to find it, but yeah. So FL came up with an IPO, Dixon came up with an IPO, right? So what was common among these all companies was, so they were kind of from the technology sector, right? So Dixon is kind of a contract manufacturer for uh, like consumer goods, right? So TVs and all, LEDs, mobile phone and all, right? So FL is into core, IT company or tech company, which has the clients of like Microsoft, Google, and all, right? Happiest Mind is another, you can say, a tech company. Root is another tech company which works on pass, basically, whatever the OTPs which we get, so they support those type of functionalities, right? So what I'm trying to say here is, so there will be certain times when a set of companies from a similar sector will come for an IPO, right? So there could be certain reasons for that, right? So the first reason could be probably a sector itself is growing at a very high pace, right? So how do we define whether those companies are growing at a very high pace or not? So you just look at their current quarter's earning and you'll understand like what I'm trying to say, right? So FL, I think it grew at some 50%. So I had a tweet also which I shared, like the family tree of all these tech companies, right? So yeah, quarterly results, right? So if you look at these quarterly numbers after these companies came up with an IPO, look at their profit growth, right? So from 1820 odd crores to 50% growth here, 50% growth here, and then another 100% growth here, right? So same is seen in the revenue also, right? So these companies, like, they came up with an IPO at a similar time, and their revenue and earning growth were phenomenal after the IPO was launched, right? So as per the demand and supply theory, we know that if it is an IPO, right? So there is probably hardly any supply which is present in the system, right? So there is no supply, which there are no stuck hands which are ready to sell those stocks, and these companies are growing at some 40%, 50%, and that's what like you see in the share price, right? So FL in 2020, 2021, it grew some 8 or 9 times from 1200 to some 7,000 odd rupees, right? It got split in between, so 1:5. But yeah, look at this journey, right? 300 to 1200, right? So this is what I'm trying to say. If you look at the same journey for Root, or if you look at the same journey for Happiest Mind, you'll again see the similar characteristics, right? So this was the case of Happiest Mind, and I shared like one tweet also on the same. Like this is the family of these companies and all. Look at this, right? Family tree of recent digital IPOs. So why they are so, you can say, why I find them as a happy space for me. The number one reason is the companies are coming up with IPO, and there are high chances that they are, going to use that fund for the growth, right? So if there is a sector tailwind and sector itself is going at, let's say, 25, 30%, then these are the companies like which want to capitalize on that and make something big out of that sector tailwind. And that's why like they come for the IPO at a probably in a same span, you can say 3 or 5, 6 months here and there, but they'll be very much close that they are looking for next 3 or 4 years of growth, and they want to capitalize on that.
Right.
So these are the four companies which fell into the category of theme-based stocks for me. And the current theme, which I talked about recently, was Sairam, SGS, and Keynes, right? So this is a February 2023, like this year's tweet, right? So I mentioned like they both are eligible for the IPO theme, right? So if you look at their current quarter's earning and the current share price, they have gone up close to like 40% from their swing low, which was made in Feb, the month of Feb, right? So so what I'm trying to say here is like within that similar within that sector, try to find out those companies which are kind of catering to the same sector, right? So in this case, like Sairam, SGS, Keynes, and to some extent DCX India also, right? So both, or in fact three of these companies are kind of electronic manufacturing system companies, right? So they're manufacturing semiconductors for automobile. They are manufacturing so you have heard about these things, right? Companies like Siemens or ABB, which are into life science machinery space, right? So they are building like kind of electronic manufacturing systems for these type of companies. So if you look at these three companies, I think they're pretty good candidate for theme based stocks out of this complete IPO pack. And whatever the phenomena which we have seen for those five companies which I've mentioned earlier, right? So Dixon, Happiest Mind, Root, FL. So the same phenomena we can expect from these companies also in this particular year. So yeah, so whole theme based investing is based on how the sector is growing, how the companies are growing. So if you look at the management commentary from these companies, they're saying like the complete sector worldwide itself is growing at 35 odd percent for next 2.5 to 3 years, right? So Sairama SGS, they have done probably I think 2,000 crore of sales, if I'm not wrong, and they have grown like 100%, right? So the last year sales and this year sales are close to 100% growth, right? And they're expecting to do like another 100% by year FY25, and it has nothing to do with that company is doing something special, or they're pushing something hard on their side, or they're building new products. It's like the whole sector and the demand supply gap is there, and these companies are just capitalizing on that.
Right.
And good part is like their export revenues are close to like probably I think mid double digits like 15 odd percent or 18 odd percent, and most of their other revenue comes from the domestic customers. So
Hmm.
this is kind of bullishness I'm seeing on these counters, and looking at the numbers, looking at everything. I believe that these are the perfect candidates for theme-based investing out of the IPO space. So as I shown you earlier, like FL, grew at some 50 odd percent. So this guy is also growing at 50 odd percent quarter on quarter,
Right.
right? So year on year, basically on every quarter. So if you look at this number versus the September last year, so it has
Hmm.
done 100%. Here also it is close to 50%. And recent quarters earnings are also very strong, right? So 24 crores to 68 crores. Same is the case with the Kenyans. And most of the people, who are not pretty much familiar with the price action, they'll keep on finding that these are, very high PE
Hmm.
stocks. Like if you look at Keynes, right? So it's probably at 80 odd PE.
Right.
And yeah, before result, I think it was some 115 or 120 because earning grew 100%. It has now come down to 80, right? So a lot of people, just skip these type of stocks which have like PE of 100, PE of 90.
Right.
But believe me, like these are the stocks which are high growth stocks, and which are going to give you very good returns until and unless that momentum is there in both earnings as well as in the price. Yeah.
Right. आपने sir, so we saw Sairam one, Keynes was second. I think you said a third one also in the same.
Third one was DCX, but
Yes.
their yeah, most of their revenue comes from defense instead of automobiles and
Hmm.
yeah, industrials. So
Hmm.
Sairama and Keynes, I think more than 55 or 60% of their revenue is coming from automobile and industrials. But in case of Sairama, it's majorly dependent on the defense side.
Right. DCX
Yeah.
one, the difference. Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah. DCX. Yeah. Yeah. Right.
Awesome. 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 That was absolutely brilliant piece, sir. Thank you so much for sharing this with us.
Yeah. Sure.
All right, we'll get Davinder sir again and उनसे बहुत कुछ सीखते रहेंगे. Till then, once again, thank you so much, sir.
Yeah. Thanks, Vishu.